Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Football Overseas channel for yet another round of Championship predictions. And here we are at the third full programme in 7 days for the Championship, almost a full programme, and we'll get to that story in a moment. However, since I last spoke to you, the managerial merry-go-round has been spinning furiously, and Frank Lampard has jumped onto that merry-go-round, and he is now the new head coach of Coventry City. So good luck to Frank. Not had the best of times in his most recent appointments, but he has had some success, as we know. So let's see what he can bring to the Sky Blues in the rest of this season and beyond, one assumes. So yes, Coventry have made their choice, and while it was still spinning, that merry-go-round, Tim Walters was pushed off by Hull City, and it's left them with a managerial vacancy. And it's, after their 2-0 home defeat to Sheffield Wednesday, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, as they say. And Tim Walter, who was just in charge for 18 games, I know I've said this probably a couple of times now, but really what Hull City were doing in the summer, I have no idea. As I say, very well placed in the finish. Didn't quite get the prize they wanted, of course, we know that. But they obviously completely transformed what they wanted to do, where they were thinking of going, and it hasn't worked. It's simple as that. Hull are in the bottom three, 4 defeats on the trot, and it's all pretty miserable at the moment on Humberside. So we shall see how what they go with now, and who they pick, and who wants the job, etc. And interesting times at Hull. So what have we got then after the midweek chapter, the midweek events? Well, we've got Leeds finding their feet now. I think they're really making their move. Their third win on the trot. And if they make the win on Saturday, that'll be the 9-point scenario in the week. Not many teams can do that. Only Leeds, Blackburn, and there was one other I spotted earlier on that could possibly do the 3. Or is it just those 2 teams? It may well be. Oh, Burnley, sorry, yes, absolutely. So Burnley, Leeds and Blackburn are the 3 teams that have had so far 6 out of 6 in this 3-game week. So we'll see who they're playing and what the fixtures throw up for those teams as we go through. And then down at the bottom, we have Portsmouth, and we're there by no fault of their own, really. You may recall they had that late call-off on Saturday in waterlogged Blackburn, and then on Wednesday night this week, 20,000 people were plunged into darkness. They'd all taken their seats at Fratton Park. It was about 25 to 8. The lights go out. It is pitch black down there. I've seen some of the pictures on the local news tonight. And some of the pictures from last night as well. Yes, there were a few lights here and there, but potentially 20,000 people, total darkness. The lights come back on, the players come out to warm up, and the match gets called off. You can't really write the story, can you? So some farcical scenes at Fratton Park last night, some very angry people as well. I've heard so many different stories, I still can't get the rights of it. But Portsmouth will get closer to a game soon. At least they were in the ground this time and their fans were in the seats. I shouldn't joke because it's a horrible situation, especially for the fans who've been to both games. It's unfortunate. So they try and get going properly this weekend. That'll be 3 weeks off, so we'll see how that affects the gameplay. That's a big gap at this time of the season. So we shall see. So they unfortunately are bottom, but they've got games in hand now, of course. So the league has become a little bit uneven in places because of these postponements, or those 2 postponements in particular, and both affecting the one team, Portsmouth, and obviously their opposition. So that was the midweek sagas. There were some decent results as well, which we'll review as we go through, and some teams have had some good moves up the table. So let's get on then for this weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday as always. And the Friday night affair is a cracker to get us kicked off. It's Sheffield United at home to Sunderland. Now, Sunderland have completely gone into draw mode. They're 5 draws on the trot. They drew a game this midweek. And I will remember in a minute who it was against. West Bromwich Albion. How could I forget? I think I predicted that. I said we couldn't split those 2 teams. I did give them a goal each, but they decided to go for a 0-0. And really that just about sums their recent form up between them. Plenty of draws. I think they've had 10 draws in the last 11 fixtures that they've played in aggregate. Incredible. So that was always on the cards, and it panned out that way. So Sheffield United then had a good routine 3-0 win over Oxford. Oxford have hit the buffers a little bit. They've hit some good sides as well in Middlesbrough and Sheffield United, but 9 goals conceded, 2 scored. So they've got a little bit of soul searching to do for the weekend of Oxford. But Sheffield United versus Sunderland, I can see that going to be, I think Sheffield United will impose themselves on the game and win the match by 2-1. So I'm going to go Sheffield United 2, Sunderland 1 for Sheffield to keep up their good work. Then we come to Middlesbrough and Hull City. Middlesbrough, surprisingly, although it's Blackburn, and Blackburn are a tough nut to crack at any time, really. And Middlesbrough lost at home to Blackburn. Hull City, as we know, lost to Sheffield Wednesday at home, and that was the trigger for the sacking of Tim Walter. So he has gone by the wayside, or by the Humberside, and we are left with, we'll see what the residue of that is. Will they get a new manager bounce or a sacked manager bounce? I don't think so. No, I think Middlesbrough will take this one quite comfortably. They'll go back to their winning and scoring ways, and it'll be Middlesbrough 2, Hull City 0. And the second early game on Saturday is Oxford against Millwall. As we know, Millwall trekked down to Fratton Park last night. No game, unfortunately, so they trekked back. And they now go another shortish trip, so they haven't had too much travelling in this sort of period. They go off to Oxford. Oxford have really, as I say, come up against it. Millwall have got excellent defence in place now after their early season difficulties. 6 games unbeaten, 4 wins, 2 draws. I will think they will go and take the spoils at Oxford, and it will be Oxford 1, Millwall 2. Then we have Watford against Queen's Park Rangers as the third Saturday lunchtime game. Now, Queen's Park Rangers, as I say, lifted themselves off the bottom by getting a very good 2-0 win at Cardiff. Yes, Cardiff are down there, we know, and they're having gone back into having a bad little trot. But QPR had only won the 1 game all season. And so they really did pull that one out of the bag a little bit, for me anyway. Away from home as well, and a clean sheet. So a lot of boxes ticked there for Queen's Park Rangers. Will it be the start of something to start to climb the table? I'm not sure. I think they've got a real tough ask against Watford. Watford beat Bristol City by 1-0. Obviously, being a Bristol City man, as you know, I did take a bit of interest in this match. While Bristol City plays some really good football at times, it wasn't getting anywhere. It wasn't getting any cutting edge. Which has been the story of 2 or 3 seasons, which frustrates me, but that's another story. And it let them down in the end, and Watford went to their 7th home win of the season already. Incredible. By beating Bristol City by 1-0 with their only shot on target. That went in off the post, but that's when things are going for you, that's what happens. And I think things will go for them again against QPR on Saturday. Not by much. I think it'll be Watford 2, Queen's Park Rangers 1. That takes us to a big game, which I see is on at 1:30, which is an odd kick-off time for the Championship, but there we have it, unless it's a misprint on my sheet here. It says 1:30 p.m. UK time. It's Blackburn Rovers against Leeds. And as I say, Blackburn had that really good win at Middlesbrough, clean sheet, and Middlesbrough were just knocked off their stride a little bit, having, as I said, I think I made a little bit of a throwaway comment last time that they were having tennis scores at the moment, 4-5-6. It didn't go 7, it went to 0, unfortunately for Middlesbrough. Anyway, Blackburn Rovers saw to that. Leeds United, as I say, put Luton away quite easily, 3-0. I think I predicted even that scoreline in the midweek roundup. So they did the expected deed. This is going to be a tough one, I think. I think both sides would be quite happy secretly if they walked away with a point each. And I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go Blackburn 1, Leeds United 1. But Leeds really are tough to stop at the moment. Not conceding, scoring goal. Well, that's a bit of a lie, isn't it? Because they conceded 3 at Swansea. But they're certainly marching a few wins in that column at the moment now. Is it 3 on the trot? 4 out of 5. So they are looking very good going towards the festive season. Next up, we have Bristol City against Plymouth Argyle. Now, this is, I think, an important game for Bristol City. They had that little flirtation by winning a few games, made their way towards the playoff zone. Now they've had 3 defeats in 4, admittedly against Sheffield United, Watford and Burnley. So no disgrace in the Championship to be edged out by those and all by the 1 goal. However, that isn't what they want to be doing. They want to be scoring points off these teams, not becoming a glorious second. So they've got to sort themselves out. And what they're doing is that up front is the issue. It has been for seasons, and it doesn't seem to be fixed this season either. However, they may have a chance against Plymouth Argyle to get their scoring boots back on. Plymouth, their away from home, have just been woeful so far this season. This is classed as a bit of a local derby. There's 100 miles between the 2 cities or thereabouts. But it is, because there's not much between Plymouth and Bristol City in the football terms. No disrespect to Exeter, who are sort of on the way. But you know what I mean, in the upper echelons of in the sort of the Championship. They're the 2 prominent sides at the moment in the southwest. So it's a sort of a bit of a local derby to it as well. Plymouth going down by 6 goals to 1. And Wayne Rooney lost his edge a little bit. He's been okay up to now, and then he made a little comment that I don't like. I could have put the under-18s out and they'd have done better. That isn't the comments you want to be putting out when your side does that. You've got to try and rein that sort of talk in. It does you no favours in the dressing room. It does you no favours as a person to say stuff like that. It may well turn out to be true. I don't know. But you don't say it. So he's let himself down a little bit, in my opinion. We'll see how his team react to that, but it's another away fixture. There'll be a big crowd at Ashton Gate on Saturday afternoon, and they really do need to get Bristol City, that is, get their feet back on firm ground. So I'm going to take them to win by 2 goals to 0. Bristol City 2, Plymouth 0. Then we have, I can't say this, everyone's been saying it all day, Frank Lampard's Coventry. Coventry City, now managed by Frank Lampard. They're playing Cardiff City, and maybe this is not a bad fixture for him to try and chalk up a win as his first match. So Coventry are home to Cardiff. Cardiff having that home loss to QPR, and their manager wasn't very happy either, as you wouldn't be. They just lost their way again, Cardiff. They seem to be perking up, and now they've had 3 defeats in 4. And it's not looking good for them at the moment. They're happy that Hull are keeping them out of the bottom 3. Coventry not far ahead of them, of course, only the 1 point. However, will Frank Lampard, or a new coach per se, change their fortunes immediately? We shall see. Coventry had a sort of a routine loss. I call them routine because it's expected to Burnley by 2 goals to 0. So Burnley got away from the 1-0 song that we were singing last week. So I'm going to give Coventry to sneak this one, because I think they've been okay, really. It's just some guide. I don't quite know what's gone wrong, really, with Coventry this season. They scored 22 goals, so they can score goals. They let in 25. There goes thereby tells the story, maybe. So I'm just going to take Coventry to take that one by 2 goals to 1. Sky Blues against the Bluebirds. Then we have Norwich, who will be fresh off that 6-1 home win against Plymouth. They won't find it so easy against Luton, I don't think. But Luton, they're still floundering, really. All right, win-loss is in their last 4 matches. But this is another tough away game for them. And they haven't been doing too great away from home at all. As I say, losing 3-0 to Leeds quite easily, quite comfortably midweek. I think Norwich will be needing to put back-to-back wins together here to get their season getting back on track. yeah, they've just gone back into the top 10 with that win, but that was their first win in 6, so they'll want to back it up straight away, and they have a chance here, I think. I'm going to take Norwich 3, but I will give it a good game. Luton 2. Norwich 3, Luton 2. 4 games left, 3 to go on the Saturday programme, and the first of those is Preston North End against West Brom. And both of these teams played out 0-0s in their midweek game. West Brom, as I said, against Sunderland, Preston against Stoke in a no-thrills game at all. So we're left with the dregs of those 2 matches. I just can't see too many goals again here. I think West Brom, though, will just maybe edge it by a goal to 0, no more than that, because they are 2 very tough nuts to crack, the defences. Although Preston, as I say, haven't won in 6 now. And I think that'll be extended to 7 with a narrow West Bromwich Albion win. Preston 0, West Bromwich Albion 1. Then we have Stoke and Burnley. Stoke, as I say, played out the Preston 0-0. Burnley got their desserts against Coventry at home 2-0. Burnley are not conceding goals, are they? It's 6 goals now, still only, up to 17 games. Incredible, really, and as I said, it may not be the best football to watch, but nobody cares about that. I won't say that again. I've said it a few times now, but Burnley fans will be probably pretty happy, really. 3 wins on the trot, no goals conceded. Here we go then, and I think it'll be another no goals conceded. Stoke have gone goal shy again a little bit, and I think Burnley will do the business, and I think it'll be another. I'll give them 2-0. So I'm going to go Stoke City 0, Burnley 2. Now we have, we hope, a game for Portsmouth. It's Swansea City versus Portsmouth. 3 weeks now without a game. Twice they've tried to play this week, and we know the stories behind that. They haven't been able to. So they trek down to a bit of a long distance trek down to South Wales for them this coming weekend, where they will face Swansea City, who are looking good. They're starting to look good. They were very unlucky last Sunday against Leeds, only losing 4-3. They put up a really fantastic fight and probably should have managed it better to take at least a point. And we have Portsmouth, whose form we know that if you're only as good as your last win, then they beat Preston 3-1. But 3 weeks ago, they've lost, in my opinion anyway, just a little bit of that momentum that they would have taken into the last 2 matches. So will they still have it? And will they be rusty? What's going to happen? Colby Bishop, the guy who scored the penalty, and I know I made a bit of a thing about that in my review at the time, open heart surgery in the close season. Here he is, probably going to start the game again at Swansea on Saturday. Incredible recovery from him. And it was a very emotional afternoon when he came on and scored that penalty against Preston. So he'll be in the Portsmouth lineup, I'm sure. Certainly won't be on the bench minimum. But I think Swansea will be just too good for them. I think they're just starting to quietly move the table. 3 wins out of 5. They did have 2 losses in the middle, but one of those was that 7-goal thriller against Leeds. So I'm going to take them to win by 3-1. I just think Swansea will score a few against Portsmouth. Portsmouth, I think will be a bit ring rusty, which is a bit of a shame for them, having just got their sort of mojo back after that win. Finally, then we go to Sunday afternoon, check. Derby County against Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday sitting nice and for them anyway, over in recent times, 13th place, 22 points. 4 teams on 22 points, so it's a bit congested as it always is in that 10 to 15th area position in the league table. So just 1 loss in 4 now for Sheffield Wednesday. And yeah, what did they do? They beat Hull City 2-0, as we know, of course. The final nail in Tim Walter's coffin, managerial coffin. And we had Derby going down at home to Swansea. Derby will be under pressure. You can't let your home form slip. As a newbie in the division, you've got to try and take points out, as they were doing. But 1 win in 6, or 1 win in the last 6, is not good shape at the moment. So we shall see, if Derby can can get their home form back somewhere where it was. They need points. They're sliding down the league a little bit. 20 points, 17th place. I think Sheffield Wednesday will go there and do a job. I think they're just clicking quite nicely. This is a good chance for them to go there with no real fear. Just go there and play their stuff. They do throw in a wobble now and again, as we know, Sheffield Wednesday. They do sort of throw in a 4-0 defeat. Where did ever that come from, we think? I think last season it was 6-0 Ipswich. All of a sudden it just comes out of the blue. So we hope they won't. Sheffield Wednesday fans hope they won't. And I think they won't either. I think it'll be Derby County 1, Sheffield Wednesday 2. So another 2-1 home defeat for Derby is my prediction. So there we have it. 3 games in a week. A busy old week in the Championship. Some interesting stories, as always. It wouldn't be probably the most interesting league story-wise that we get across the English football pyramid. A great league, some really good teams in here. A lot of these teams that we know have played in the Premier League at some point in their recent history. So we look forward to yet another weekend and see where it takes us, see where it takes the table. No midweek next week, so I will be back towards the end of next week to review and preview the end of the busy 3-game week that we've experienced. So I hope you've enjoyed your football. Please have a lovely weekend. Enjoy the football, stay safe, and I'll see you again very soon. Thank you for listening.